Okay, so
But yeah, no, for the most part, like, yeah.
all right. So I say we do this. So this is in Innistrad Innistrad Midnight Hunt tier list.
All right, go scroll down, find the werewolf, put him in S. Do you know he's already the 4th most played Gruul commander?
He's so good.
We don't need to talk about it. He's
So
crazy for that.
we made the deck. So like uh he's quite dumb. Like I consider him like pretty what do you call it? So like you do have to hit, but the wolves get so big because the ability to flip them and the fact that like you're pretty much always getting the backsides when you want them is pretty insanely strong. We have to look up some of the rules on it because I know that there's some weird rules with the old ones, like with Immerwolf. Like I think Immerwolf doesn't stop this commander or something because
No, I think Immerwolf doesn't
doesn't work.
affect Nightbound, Daybound is what it was.
Yeah, I think that's yeah. So yeah, but pretty insane. Considering like how many Lord werewolves there are, and like how many of them just give trample or like other interesting effects, like just really strong. Okay. Oh, not too many. Uh, but okay. So Adeline, Resplendent Cathar. It's got vigilance. Its power and toughness are equal to the number of creatures you control. When you attack for each opponent, create a 1/1 white human creature token that's tapped and attacking that player or a planeswalker they control. Eh.
1/1s aren't the scariest, and if it's one going at each person, that means that like
Also,
a single blocker.
why'd they cap it at 4? Was that really necessary for a white card?
Yeah, no, white sucks.
Like, did they really need to do that? Like, couldn't they just make it star? Like, is it really that bad? Like, it's really not that bad.
Oh, so here's why, right? So about Daybound, Nightbound. They transform into their Nightbound faces when it becomes night. Similarly, double face permanents with Nightbound transform to Daybound faces as it becomes day. This happens immediately and is not state-based actions. It happens anytime it becomes day or night, not just during the untap step. If you cast a spell with Daybound during night, that spell will be front face up. That is Daybound on the stack. However, it will enter the battlefield with its back face up. That is with Nightbound face up. It won't enter with its Daybound face up and then transform. So they enter if it's night permanents with Daybound. So it says permanents with Daybound and Nightbound can't transform via any means other than their Daybound, Nightbound abilities, because the ability is what gives them the effect to chains. Notably, other cards such as Moon Mist that instruct a player to transform permanents don't affect permanents with Daybound or Nightbound if it's neither day or night, and a creature with a Daybound and a creature with Nightbound somehow appear on the battlefield at the same time. It becomes day. The creature with Nightbound will transform. So what it is because Nightbound, Daybound are like the static effects on their card. They're only looking at that. So say you have a card, it's like transform your Nightbound cards. Because it's Daybound, it will immediately, without state-based actions, transform back to whatever it was. It'll never actually flip because it's locked to Daybound, Nightbound. Is basically
That's kind of
what they're
stupid.
saying.
That's kind of. I think it overcomplicates things, but sure.
Yeah. Because the thing is that say it's Daybound or it's Nightbound, let's say it's Daybound and you move this to transform all your werewolves. You have a card that's Nightbound on a Daybound side, and it can only be on the Nightbound side if it's currently Night out, and that's kind of how saying it works.
Okay, well that's fine.
Anyway, put her in bottom tier.
Yeah.
No, okay. I say she could go in C just because you can. Maybe Voltron.
It is, it is just a Brimos, right? At worst.
Yeah, and at least she has Vigilance. And Knights have a decent amount of support anyway. And White is really good at protecting and buffing. So it's not like the worst effect I've ever seen. And it still is making creatures. So at worst, when she swings, you're in Commander, she's a 4/4. Mm-hmm. If you have any other creatures in play, like she can get pretty big. So I'll give her that just because there's a potential to be big and flood a board. one anointed Presension, and now she's kind of a 7/4, and that's a kind of scary right away for 3 mana.
Yeah, that's worth at least a C for me.
Yeah,
Definitely not a D.
there's Knight support, and there's
Okay.
Knight support. The Pious Apprentice. So this is the guy that he's got Dayband.
Oh, okay. So I think I didn't put the backsides of some cards, but we're just gonna have to look them up.
So yeah, sure. Let me look it up. So yeah, he's 2 mana 3/2 lifelink cards in graveyards can't be the target of spells or abilities with disturbed. And so whenever one or more creature cards are put into the graveyard from anywhere, investigate. This ability triggers only once per turn. If he would be put into your graveyard from anywhere, exile him instead. So here's where I feel like he's very situational. I know he's a D for me.
Yeah.
Cards in graveyards can't be a target of spell or abilities. It doesn't stop you from just straight
The
casting things from graveyard.
It's the backside that's okay, right?
It's whenever one or more creature cards only are put into the graveyard from anywhere, investigate, but only triggers once each turn. So I guess that's not the worst, but the thing is, to get his other side, he has to die, and then you have to disturb him.
But insanely hard.
No. But, like, if people know what the other side is, what you can do is, like, swing 2 with him, and someone just blocks with, like, a 0/4 or like, a big butt, and he never dies. So you'd have to, like, self-kill him off, which isn't the worst, but I don't think his effect really affects the game as much.
No.
He's blue, but he's poop for me.
Now this commander. What a boy.
Whenever
what a
another
lad.
creature you control dies, investigate. It doesn't say only once per turn. Whenever you sacrifice a token, you surveil 1. So that's pretty cool. It's really easy, and especially in black, for things that self die, and getting some value out of it. It's another just something dies, you get value out of it. It can almost just say the same thing as whenever a creature dies, you control dies, draw a card. And then you also get the surveil, which also helps you dig. And in blue-black, you're in a graveyard semi-strategy potentially anyway. And at worst, you're digging, so that could go up decently high. I don't think itself is, like, super powered, but it's a lot of utility.
But if you think about zombies, like, I think that this card's pretty fucking good. And Demir's just insane with die stuff, right?
Now, what it's also kind of, as a human rogue, playing him even in tribal rogues, say you get board wiped, he still sees them all die, so you just make a whole bunch of clues and just crack them all up to refill your hand to try and commit to the board again.
Yeah. I
think he gives enough value where he can be pretty decent.
Are you gonna put him in rogues?
I might.
Do you even still have rogues? Oh, yeah, you do.
But then again, I don't really play it all that much. I might end up taking rogues apart. I don't know. It was super cheap.
Yeah.
Like I said, I bought the deck half foiled because it's like, oh, lol. Do I want something for 5 cents or 7 cents? Because almost the entire deck comes in the pre-con anyway.
Yeah.
Hold on. I am holding up.
Okay.
So next
but yeah.
one.
Yeah. I mean, Dimir does good. I mean, Ashnod's Altar. Also, it doesn't say non-token.
Yeah, true. Whenever another creature control dies, investigate.
So, that's the thing.
Oh, yeah.
Wait a minute. Hold on.
No, the thing you're thinking.
Pitiless Plunderer. Hold on. Pitiless Plunderer with a creature dying makes a token. If there's something that makes like a token creature when it dies, you could sack that also. That investigates plus makes a treasure off play. There's definitely some potential there, 100%. Because that doesn't say non-token, and a lot of things say non-token. But it's fine because it's not like make a token. Like it's making a token, but it's investigating, so you have to pay to draw.
Yeah, which I think that's how they word it really smart. It's like you don't get free draw, you have to pay to draw.
And even the sacrifice has to be a token. So,
you do get to make clues, and the thing is, like, we're in that same color, or where we could use Word for Invention and tap them all, and like.
Oh, totally.
So
yeah,
it's kind of nifty, yeah.
No, I totally agree. I guess there could be like Oh my god, could you try to make this like an Urza deck?
I guess, yeah, because you could also run that dragon, which is tap 2 untap artifacts.
You
You
know
control
what?
to draw a card.
I want to write this guy down and see if we can make the first Dimir Artifact Matters deck. Hold on.
Oh, it's
I
really
can't...
easy. I would
No,
actually
definitely easy. Why is my caps lock on?
Yeah, that's also a cool thing, because there's some, like, artifact, oh, Tom, imagine you have a whole bunch of devotion, and you do a thing like Master the Waves, or the thing that makes the Harpies equal the amount of your devotion to black. Or we have that new one that makes squirrels equal the amount of your devotion to black.
Underworld Hermit.
Yeah. So you just go wide, and you start sacking them off, and you're like, okay.
I wrote her down.
Okay.
Because I think she seems cool.
Yeah, that would actually be a really cool build, and very different for a Dimir.
Oh, totally. It feels like a Selesnya deck. Or like green black, right?
A little bit, yeah.
But
surprised
yeah, okay.
more people aren't trying her
bordering, you know. Yeah, right? You want to know why? It's because of him.
Yeah.
That's why. Because people are it's just easier to go straight to the Zombino.
Yeah.
And I do actually think Wilhelt is good. I don't consider him busted. I still actually think Gisindrolf is better in the long game. I do still think that Scarab God can be better than most of them, just in general. But I also don't like exiling my cards in the graveyard. Like, I know that Scarab God has a good effect.
You can
but
exile your opponents, though, and then you get the
yeah,
but
like if they're not like a black deck or like really milling a lot, and like you're just kind of killing their creatures.
I
like,
the other trade-off.
Are you really getting the best stuff?
The thing is,
world,
I think you're just worrying about his other effect, where scrying and losing life, equal amount of zombies you control, will kill people on their own. Like you know, like
totally.
Like
yeah,
it's like Graveborn Muse, except for your opponents.
Because he's way more played than Gisindrolf.
Yeah.
But I still actually believe that Gisindrolf is just a better card. And if you play Maskwood Nexus, you can actually loop with Gisindrolf. Because Gisindrolf works with Rooftop Storm. Well, you know, depending on how you do it.
Wow,
but,
Rogues is the second most played deck in Dimir.
For Dimir? Yeah, because it's a commander deck. And Rogues are actually fun to play.
They are. I do really enjoy the list.
And they've printed a fuck ton of them.
Yo,
We've got so many Rogues.
There is that new one. I actually realized how busty is this Crydal of Boulder's Gate. It's whenever you attack, you may pay 2. If you do, target creature can't be blocked this turn. He doesn't say he has to attack. It just says whenever you attack. So you can attack with your commander, pay 2 for your commander to become unblockable.
That's cool.
Yeah.
What do you think about this boy?
So I think he's definitely top in the A, because he works really well with the zombies. I've played against it a few times, and even like very limited edited ones, it gets scary how many tokens they make.
I agree with you,
and
because zombies make a lot of tokens as is, and then turning them into decayed creatures, and then also having like a sort of mini way to draw, like not a great sack outlet, but like a fine one.
Not to mention Gravecrawler is a card.
Yeah, I mean, then you just make infinite mana off him. And the best part about him is he's actually a fucking zombie.
Yeah, that's an important part. He is a zombie. And that kind of teeters him up just a little bit higher. I think he's definitely better than Alois.
He plays with the tribe better, you know.
Yeah.
But a lot of those, like playing the version of zombies that makes a fuck ton of tokens, because that exists. Because there's tons of cards that make tokens, like zombie tokens. Like, you can play all of them. And then every time they die, they get value. So I can sack them to do stuff. So what you're telling me is, like, I could play that card that makes 13 of them.
Yep.
Plus, like, Grave Titan and things like that.
Tom, we had that happen to us, and we lost that game. Because he made all of them.
And then I have any of the, like... How many of zombie cards are there that say when something dies, the opponent loses a life? Like 5, right?
There's a bunch.
There's like 5 that you should be playing. And so you sack all those, it triggers. Then you get all the decayed zombies, it triggers again. Also, you can get in an attack first, and they self-sack themselves.
Yep.
So if you have any die triggers matter stuff like Grave Pact or anything like that, it gets bonkers. So like you get to attack, and like it... He's good. And I think a fun build where you're just trying to make a lot of tokens is actually like a fun way to go. Playing like the best lords, the pingers, obviously. You want to play all the pingers because they're going to die a lot. Probably just the best zombies that you can. And then, like, you know, not having to play too many loops. Like, you're still going to play Rooftop Storm, but you don't have to go, like, balls in. Probably play Micaeus, because Micaeus makes it, like, even more degenerate. And then, like, because the commander's a zombie, he actually works with Micaeus. Fucking good lord. It doesn't say human. But, yeah. I think that could be a really fun deck. Where you could just die out of nowhere. Like, straight up die out of nowhere. And most people are just building it zombie tribal, but I think it'd be more fun to go in on the tokens. Like, you know, because, you know, making sure that you're playing that 4-man enchantment and all the, like, sorceries that make zombies and things like that. I think it'd be way more fun.
Yeah, there's also,
Open the Graves.
Yeah, Diregraph Colossus seems really cool.
How is Open the Graves worded? It's just when one of your creatures dies, right?
I don't remember. But there's another card that I actually always used to love that
See, I would want to build him this way, where it's like die triggers matters with tokens. Like, I think that's a fun way to do it, because a lot of the zombies just say when zombies die.
You could also just main board in the Meat Hook Massacre, even though it's like $40.
Oh my god. It's $40?
34.
Fucking tit fart.
That card is like huge in standard. There's
also, just really good.
Necromancer Stockpile is the one I like. It's like the discard a card, draw a card. If it was
it's those kind of cards that I'm thinking about. And then also, there's the 1-drop that you can tap it and discard a card, right? Make a zombie.
Oh yeah, the Crypt Breaker, my favorite.
Yeah, Crypt Breaker. Yeah. There's a lot of them. And then the 3-mana busted ass one that whenever you cast a zombie, you get a 2/2.
Also, that
and then it enters equal to
because he makes the zombies, it makes Champion of the Perished like really cool because they all enter.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, I like that. Yeah, Champion of the Unperished, you mean? Or no, is it just called Champion of the Perished?
Because, because Champion of the Perished versus Champion of the Perished.
Yeah, right. But yeah, definitely some potential. You know what? I think I want to write him down too, but
I pulled him and I put him in the zombie deck.
Because thinking about, like, all the things that make tokens, like, and looking into the things that make tokens, because I think that's a good place to be, because I think you could be, and playing, like, Ayara, right? Because Ayara just says when a black creature enters. Like, Jake's commander. So, anytime a black creature enters, they all lose a life, you gain 1. And then you could sack a black creature to draw a card. Like, that seems busted. Hold on. I'm gonna write him down. 1L. Interesting.
Will help the Rot Cleaver.
Okay. Alright. Because that sounds fun to me. Alright.
Oh, so the only card I really want to pick up is Empty the Laboratory. It's sacrifice X zombies, then reveal cards on the top of your library until you reveal number of zombie creature cards equal number of zombies sacrificed this way. Put those cards in the battlefield. It's basically Kindred Summoning with sacking zombies.
That's the new blue card, right?
Yeah. Empty the Laboratory.
Yeah, that would be sweet in there. Oh, also the new the Beholder in there also.
Yeah,
like
Death Tyrant.
That thing is so dumb with decayed creatures.
Yeah, because they come back as 2/2 zombies, and when those zombies die, they come back as decayed.
Hold on. Also, the way that it's worded, what is it called? Death Tyrant, right?
Yeah.
I gotta show you. Oh no, it brought up the 5e one.
Yeah, whenever attacking creature control or blocking creature opponent controls dies, you get a 2/2 zombie. So the thing is,
here's the cool. Go ahead. Yeah, go ahead.
Because of how the decay zombies work, you sacrifice them at the end of combat, and they're still considered attacking at the end of combat, so Death Tyrant triggers with them.
Also, you could just get free sacks, because here's what you do. You attack, right, with all your tokens, right? And then, like, even your non-decayed tokens, and you just sack them in combat with a sack outlet. And then it works anyway because they're attacking.
Yep.
Also, the blocking part is gross.
Yep, because you attack with the big things, you're like, okay, well now we have to
Yeah, like imagine going to combat and like you're like I swing with 7 4/4 zombies because, you know, my lords. And then like and you're like, okay, cool. Like I sack them all to something. How is Decayed worded, by the way?
It's
Hold on.
whenever it can't attack or block, and when it attacks, sacrifice it at the end of combat.
So hold on here, Derek.
So
If I'm understanding this
yeah,
correctly.
when they die from their own effect, it triggers Death Tyrant because the end of combat is still declared an attacking creature.
But hold on, though. Is there a spot after damage, before we end combat, where they can be sacrificed to something?
Yeah, at the beginning of end of combat, its ability triggers to go on the stack to sacrifice, and in response, you could sacrifice it if you wanted to.
Yeah, right? No, because I'm saying there's a spot. There's a spot after damage, right?
Yeah, at the end of damage step.
But because before it goes out of combat, right? And before they die.
Yes, the combat.
Yeah, you could just stack them in response to their own trigger, right?
Yeah.
Because it's a trigger, right?
Yes.
But that's even 100 times more busted because it's like you get in all the damage and then you just sack them to their own triggers.
So here's
to something
the step.
Else.
So it's So we have beginning of combat step, declare attacker step, declare blocker step, combat damage step, then end of combat step.
Oh yeah, so then yeah, it totally fits in there. So before the end of combat step, you could do it, right?
Yeah, because that's when it would tend to trigger as the end of combat step, is when they would...
Because that's when people do it with Geist, right?
Yeah.
With
the thing is, it doesn't matter because they do...
With the thing that ends the turn?
But yeah, you have time to sacrifice them when their trigger goes on the stack, because it's still a trigger.
Yeah, which is awesome, because there's only a million things you can do with things dying.
But anyway, enough talking about the zombie dude. He's good.
Yeah, we're gonna remember him when we go to build him, because I definitely think we should build both of these. They both seem interesting. So Florian, you want to read this one?
First strike. At the beginning of your post-combat main phase, look at the top X cards of your library. X is the total amount of life your opponents. Whoop. Scroll down a little bit.
Sorry. Uh-oh.
Oh, you broke it.
Why is the bottom? I think I broke it.
Where X is the total amount of life lost. Is X the total amount of life your opponent's lost this turn? Exile one of the... Stop moving.
Sorry.
I'm trying to read. Exile one of those cards and put it the rest in your bottom of your library in random order. You may play the exile card this turn. So, what this basically sounds like to me is...
I hate teeth?
What?
I think she was talking about the beholder.
Oh. I hate teeth.
That's great.
That's where I didn't see it in. I don't see it in the chat, but I see it in like the stream, but in my chat thing over here.
Maybe it's weird if like she's on her phone or something.
I'm gonna just type in random shenanigans. So yeah, I see that popped up. I just didn't see her message pop up. But then again, my chat over here has been really weird. Mm-hmm. But yeah, oh yeah, that is a D&D creature, by the way.
Oh yeah, because that was from an entire D&D set.
Yeah, Death Tyrant. So Florian Valderan Scion. So as by itself,
I didn't even listen to the effect, by the way. I was looking at that.
Yeah. So it does it. Basically, when you after your combat main phase, you look at top X cards where X is a life they lost the opponent. Yeah, your opponent's lost. Wait. Then you get to put one.
No, I know this guy.
Yeah, then you exile one face down, and the rest of the.
You know what deck this is? I didn't mean to cut you off, but do you know what this deck is?
No.
Dragon's Approach.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, because okay.
Because that deals 9 around. Mm-hmm. And then you get to look for another Dragon's Approach.
Yeah, you're right.
This guy's actually pretty good. Are you gonna put him in Prosper?
I could. Now another place I see him doing really well in is in the main board of the Vampire deck, because he is just a vampire. So you just go
very good vampire card.
You just go full swing with vampires.
Oh my god!
Because they're gonna lose a lot of life anyway. So he's basically digging you one card deeper. Well, digging you a card.
He's just a 3-mana first strike vampire, 3/3.
Yeah. So say like you play him right, and then you get your tokens, and then all your vampires attack, and you say you hit for like 12 damage. You go to your post-combat main step. Look at my top 12 cards. What vampire do I want next? Or what card do I want on my next turn? Is that a big buff dude? Okay, let me leave that there. Okay,
I like him.
Yeah.
And as far as a Rakdos commander goes, that's a pretty good card advantage for an effect.
Yeah.
I don't know how he goes as a commander, but I think the Dragon's Approach deck enough puts him in A or B for me. Because the Dragon's Approach deck for him is actually pretty fucking good. And all the red dragons are the important ones anyway. So,
Yeah,
and you get recursion because he's black. I don't know if he's like this good, but I think B. I think B.
Oh my god, you know Dragon's Approach is like $3 a piece?
Because people are okay, did you not watch the command zone episode?
I know, I just didn't realize how much it was.
This guy played, this is what Josh played.
It's a common. It's a $3 common.
But Eric, when it's a card that can be played multiple of, like let's look at Shadowborn Apostle. How about we do that, Derek?
Yeah, but you know how long ago that was printed?
And also, it's the best one.
But let's talk about how Dragon's Approach was from Strixhaven, which was a massively open set because of the cards that were in it with the Mystic Arcanum card, or not the whatever, the special artwork cards. So that set was pulled in huge numbers. Now I had Shadowborn Apostle was not that long ago after it came out. It was like a few pennies.
For this?
It is now. Yeah, its foils are stupid. Yet full foil. Let's go.
The funny part about this is, imagine that you need to have 27 to 30 of these in a deck. And this will always be the best creature that you can have as many of these as you want. There's not a single creature that will be better than Shadowborn Apostle. And it's A, because of Edgewalker. Do you know what Edgewalker does?
Yeah, because it lets you play
Cleric's free. That's the only card in Magic the Gathering that does that other than Morphon. Like, what other card in the game makes the color cost less?
Oh wait, there is I think one other one.
Not counting like Fist of Suns and that kind of cheese, but like other than I think there's one other, and it's for a tribal also. And I think it's a Minotaur.
Yeah, it's that Minotaur one makes them black and red cost less.
And that's it. I think that's it. Oh, speaking of Minotaurs, by the way. How do you spell it?
Oh, didgeridoo? I don't know it. You're gonna ask me to spell a weird Australian word?
You're right.
It's D-I-D.
Okay, hold on.
G.
Oh, it's right there.
Yep.
Check this out.
$12 for a didgeridoo, eh?
Yeah, because that Minotaur commander.
Right.
Jumpstart like a while ago. It was 30.
You know what's also really cool too is that you could also
Changeling?
You could also play the Nexus card because it says anywhere.
Yes. And Derek, this in Changelings, huh?
Yeah.
Also, that red card in Changelings that just gets 4 Minotaurs from your deck.
Anyway,
do you know you can win with that card?
Before we get too sidetracked, yes. Where do we stick? So where do we stick the floor?
B. I think B. I think he's good in B. His Dragon's Approach pretty good. I mean, it takes a lot to get working, but he's probably the only other better like dragons, like just as good. I think he's actually better because he always gets one. Yeah. But like the one that Mike is playing, the Boros one, I just think it's slightly worse than this one because this one is it's 4 mana less. It's happens every time you do a Dragon's Approach. You don't have to attack. And you get to look 9 cards deep from one Dragon's Approach. And with 30 plus in the deck, if you don't hit one, you're just the worst of all time. But yeah. Okay, so here we go. Oh, this one.
Yeah, she's just a Gulkar Resurrect.
Okay, hold on. Can I go grab? I'm gonna go grab some water really quick.
Right.
If you just want to read it.
So yeah, so if a creature an opponent controls would die, exile it. At the beginning of your upkeep, put all creature cards exiled with just a glorious Resurrector onto the battlefield under your control. They gain Decay, which is when it can't block, and when it attacks, sacrifice at the end of combat. I like this dude, but we'll talk about more when Tom gets back. Scratch, itchy back. I hear him returning. And he is back.
Okay. But yeah,
Welcome
so
back.
what do you... I know what this card does already. What do you think about it?
So I think it's kind of a cool card. I feel like people probably won't like playing against it as much because like you can still just play as like I destroy your creature. Now I get it at the end of the turn.
Okay,
Well, on my turn.
I feel like it's a lot more fair than Turgid is.
Oh, 100%. Because the thing is, you don't get it until your upkeep. So you can't just kill it and be like, okay, now I have it immediately. You have to wait till it's your turn. So you get them on your turn. That means they have Summoning Sickness again. They can't block, and if you attack with them, they die.
Yeah, and then your opponent gets them back in their graveyard. So,
but what you can do with this though is like you just build deck that's called targeted removal of the deck, or just Death Triggers Tribal like Grave Pact and all that stupid stuff. I think this is pretty good actually. Yeah, I think
because stealing creatures is like really strong, and the effect by itself, like if they want to sack their own creatures, you just get them because it exiles them.
Yeah, so it also comes to semi hate to like sacking things. Now it does say creatures, so again, Turgid's anything, but
but this is die and Turgid's sack.
Yeah.
So I consider this effect a little bit better, but Turgid also has the discard. You know, like Turgid, you have to work a little bit more to do. This is just anything, and also if they do it to themselves. So zombie players beware, just as on the run. Okay.
But there's a lot of really cool things you could run in the deck, and just like I said, like Ingaruk's Wake seems hella busted.
Oh my god, you want to know what that also says, Derek?
What?
Rise from the Dark Realms.
Yeah.
It's Ingaruk's Wake / Rise from the Dark Realms.
Basically, yeah.
It's basically what it is. Close to it. But yeah, no, I told you, she's definitely really strong.
Yeah, she's basically, you kind of build the mono black, like, sack removal pack deck, and the thing is, you just kind of get the value out of it. And the thing is, you can still run all the stuff, like, with, like...
You can still play Turgid in the deck.
Or you play all those things, like the Grim Harspec effects. Because
that's what I was thinking, Playcrafter.
They do say when a creature you control dies, draw a card. So you control their creature, even though you don't own it. So when it dies, you get the trigger for it.
Yep, 100%.
Which I think that makes it really cool.
Creature you control dies, huh?
Yeah, look at that. So
we got the Tomb Shell.
We got the Turtle Boy.
Zombie Turtle.
So yeah,
very important.
As an additional cost to cast this spell, you may exile any number of creature cards from your graveyard. This spell costs 2 less to cast for each card exiled this way. It's Death Touch, and whenever it attacks or dies, choose a card at random exiled with it and place a card into its owner's hand. A 4/4 Death Touch isn't that scary. Getting one card out at random, if it wasn't random, I think it'd be a little bit better.
It's kind of this seems kind of ass to me. I think it seems worse than this.
Yeah, I guess I'd stick him in D. He just seems meh.
He doesn't even seem good in a deck. Like, he just seems like a bad card.
Like, what he seems like is, like, I have a whole bunch of junk in my graveyard that I don't care about, so let me play a 4/4 Death Touch for 2 black. But that seems a lot better in, like, in Modern or Standard setting than it does in Commander. But he's a Commander card, so, like...
Yep. And you can't even play it in Modern. You can only play it in Legacy, so...
Jadar, Caller of Nephalia.
I believe it's Yadar.
Yadar.
Yader done.
Yader done. At the beginning of your end step, if you control no creatures with decay, you get a 2/2 black zombie creature token with decay. For 2 mana, I mean, it's not the worst. You're making a 2/2.
It's not a Zombino.
He sets up a deck for things, but I don't think he does enough because it's like he's an end step trigger. He doesn't work with anything else kind of going on in the play. It doesn't matter what you're playing, like unless you have a way to double his effect, like you just get a 2/2 black zombie token with the cat.
Yeah, and then you're stuck just playing black zombies.
But then again, and again, you're not in for Commander anyway. Like, he wasn't built for Commander. So like, yeah, I would stick him probably down in D as well. You have a 1/1 creature that makes a 2/2 non-blocking creature.
Okay, so we got
Jiren.
No, that's definitely Jiren. Corrupted Bishop. Oh, this is the guy that flips.
Yeah.
This is the 13 boy.
Yeah. So when he enters the battlefield or another a token human you control dies, you lose 1 life and create a 1/1 human creature token. 2 mana, target human you control gains life like the other turn. At the beginning of your end step, if you have exactly 13 life, you may pay 6 blacks, and if you do, transform him into no, he's a 6/6 flying trample lifelink, and sacrifice another creature to draw a card.
Yeah, that fucking effect is so good. It's Yawgmoth with no -1 life.
Yeah, the thing is, it's really hard to flip him because you need to be exactly 13 life.
Is that really that hard in
But
black?
we have a Tree of Perdition card.
Or Necropotence.
Yeah, or there's a wall that you could pay life to give it.
Derek,
+0,
there's actually a
+6.
lot of cards that just pay life to do things. Like, there's a 1-mana creature that just says pay a black to add a mana of any color.
So the thing is getting a 6/6 sack creature to draw a card when you're at 13. Great. I guess he has Flying Trample and Lifelink. Now there's probably cheesy ways to transform him. But like,
Yeah,
his thing is his condition is really hard to meet in a.
I think it's more of a fun card.
Yeah.
Not very good though.
This is like, you have to work really hard. Now, I think he probably works a lot better in like a limited format or constructed format, like modern or standard, because you only have 20 life. So going down 7 life is a lot different than going down. Especially if you play him in a pod and people don't want him to flip. If you're even close to 13, everyone's just gonna gang up at you and put you to like 3. I feel like if you wait, unless you get that one card that lets you like immediately put your life to where you want to be, and then you have 6 mana to flip him. Okay, cool, you did it. You get to draw a bunch of cards. But other than that, I think he's a little too hard to flip. Yeah.
You know what? Considering that this guy's just a really bad zombie deck, I'm gonna put him in C because the zombie deck in black is still really good. Even for that bad effect. But you know, people like to make bad commanders on purpose and trying to make them work. So, all right, so here we go. Protection from werewolves. Human warlock.
Yeah.
Catilda Dawnheart Prime. Protection from werewolves. Human creatures you control have tap, add 1 mana of any color of its creature's colors. That's not bad. And then you could pay 6.
6 and tap to Gavin counter.
Put 1/1 counter on each creature you control.
So it's kind of cool. It makes, if you're playing tribal humans, it's a cryptolith, right? Or it's basically a sliver, a gemstone sliver, or the mana wealth sliver for humans.
Yeah, it's not terrible.
As a commander,
I'm glad that they didn't just put like +1/+1 on each human.
Yeah,
it definitely makes it better.
Yeah, so the thing is, you can play a combination of humans and some other things. You're still in green, white, and green.
A lot of humans make tokens.
Yeah, and green's also really good to drawing cards equal to the amount of creatures you control, like a lot. So you go human, draw a bunch of cards.
This is definitely not terrible.
No, I'd put him probably in a solid B.
Yeah, I agree.
It's not big. You have to commit to a board really aggressively to make it really good and to go wide with it.
But the tapping for colors is actually really nice.
It makes making them all mana dorks. It's
a cool. 2-mana card that does that.
Cryptolith Right's a 3-drop, or is it a 2-drop?
Cryptolith Right is 3 mana.
Yeah.
No, it's 2. Hold on. No, it's 3. Hold on. I'm looking it up.
I forget. It's 2 or I know it's 2 or 3.
Did you know that card is a combo in It's 2.
Oh, it's 2. Yeah, so it's basically Cryptolith Right and Gavin Township as a single.
But you have to have the human condition. But again, they're really good humans in green and white.
Yep, like most
of
them. That's
it's
like
really
their
not
main
that
color.
big of a problem. Okay, so do you want to read the tree folk? New tree folk, by the way.
Kubis Harvest Celebrant, 2 green and X. It enters the battlefield with a number of +1/+1 counters equal amount of mana spent to cast it, which does work with the commander tax, I believe, right? So say you just, if he died 3 times.
It was the same thing with Gyrus.
Yep. Remove a +1 counter from him, prevent all damage that would be dealt this turn to another target creature with a +1 counter on it. So it's a +1 counter matters deck. Which green does that a lot. There's a lot of stuff for +1 counters. I don't think it's the best effect for +1 counters because usually things.
No.
If you're building a counter deck, the last thing you're usually worrying about is how much damage they take because they're usually huge.
No, I totally agree.
So in that sense, I think it's just okay.
I mean, still an okay card. It's just it's not really that great, I guess.
No.
So another human commander.
So this is the one actually I think I really liked. Yeah. Whenever another human enters the battlefield under your control, you put a +1 counter on him, and other humans you control get +1/+1 counter on it. So it's a champion of the perished and a Thalia's lieutenant, basically. Kind of. No, it's even better than that. It does come out kind of late for humans because humans are.
It's that 4-mana artifact that does the exact same thing.
Yeah.
That we never play, but I forget what it.
Door Destiny, I think.
Yeah, that sounds right.
But yeah, but having it in the commander spot as compared to just a random card you have to draw does, I think, make it better.
I totally agree.
So I think this is cool. I definitely give it a solid B because humans want to get big and you want to play a bunch of them. He is a little bit later in the curve for humans, but you get him out. I think you just if you could. He's at that part where you're playing all your draw effects for cards. So I think you could poop out a bunch of humans pretty quickly, and if you pair it with like Catilda, and now you could tap them all for mana to keep playing them. Like I think you could go you get them pretty big with him.
Also play the Ozolith just to make sure that you don't lose anything. So this one's actually really sweet. This is the commander for the Coven. So Coven actually ended up being pretty sweet. I saw people playing with the Precon, and this commander actually ended up being pretty good. It's Lenore, Autumn Sovereign. It's a human noble. It has Coven. At the beginning of combat on your turn, put a 1/1 counter on up to one target creature you control. Now that alone is pretty okay. Then if you control 3 or more creatures with different powers, draw a card.
I kind of like that, yeah.
So you can either... The cool thing about the Coven deck, Derek, is that it's just a +1/+1 counter deck, which is already good in these colors. And this is giving it a draw outlet. Plus, having Coven effects because they're just good in +1/+1 counters decks because you can mitigate, like, what toughness and how big you want something to be. Like, Coven is like baby mode in those kind of decks.
Which, honestly, with you're doing a +1 counter deck, as soon as you play a new creature that has no counters on it, it's probably the smallest creature and is now already 1. If you have any other creature in play, your Coven's already at 2, so you just need one other thing. So
Coven, I think the constant being able to put a 1 counter on it and then drawing is nice.
You know, I would kind of like to make this deck. Like
I think this is pretty A tier in my opinion because the ability to put a counter and then draw is very good. And then like, I know it seems like it's not a lot at first, but like getting a counter on something every turn when a lot of things have effects now, like when counters get put on something, pretty fucking strong. Like that new beast that they printed that when it gets a counter it makes a 4/4.
She's also kind of cool because if you never put a counter on her, you always have something that has a power of 0. And because many things usually have at least a 1, like she already is basically setting you up that like anything else you play is going to be pretty good. And with her, if you even so want to, you could just play like big creature matters or just like good creature tribal in like green-white, and then just like get Coven triggers, just the extra draw stuff. She ends up becoming almost like a weird sort of Phyrexian arena creature.
I know it seems like a slow amount of counters, but see, like, the difference between this and this is, like, this has to be humans. And, well, I guess this can put counters on anything. So I guess that this isn't a bad +1/+1 counters commander either.
I'm guessing Kyler and Lenore came in the same. I also really loved...
they did, these three.
I also love the artwork. I love the whole fall, autumn, harvest, pumpkin, Halloween feel for it. Very, very much big vibes for me.
Yes.
But yeah, also, I like it, and it still feels very...
honestly, this one might be better than I'm thinking. I think that this might be A. Because I think that ability to put a counter on everything is kind of strong now that +1/+1 counter decks have kind of become ridiculous.
And it's really easy to get like 3 or 4 creatures in play and use your lands and just like tap 3 lands, 3 creatures to pay for it.
And at worst, like, it's just the mana rock itself. So like, you could just look at it as just like a +1 commander. Yeah.
Or
I think that deserves to move up a little bit to be at like the bottom of A.
Yeah.
Because, man, in Modern Horizons, did they print a lot. There's also combos, too. There's the Ivy Lane Denizen and the Squirrel Commander. Or the thing that makes squirrels whenever you put a counter on it. So, yeah. Oh.
Yeah, we don't have to talk about him.
Yeah, no, we do. Let's talk about it.
So I put a budget version of this deck together, and it's so easy to combo, and your opponent's...
How do you say it's Liar or Lear?
I don't know.
That's Liar. It's Liar, right? Because Lear would be 2 E's, right?
It depends. It's English language, so it's whatever the hell it wants to be because we don't make any sense with our language.
Right. And old English Liar would be RLY,
when
right?
there, and there sounds exactly the same, but spelled in 3 different ways.
I don't know what you're talking about there.
Exactly.
What's the problem?
People are like, why is it so hard to learn English? I don't get it. It seems so easy.
Mm-hmm.
It brings a tear to my tearing eye. So, spells can't be countered. Yes, they can, because there's a lot of spells that technically counter without saying the word counter spell on them.
Mm-hmm.
Another kind of silly things is like, you know that card, what's it called? The counter spell where you get treasures equal to the spell's converted mana costs?
Spell Swindle.
Yeah, those still work, because it can't be encounters the same as indestructible. If a card says destroy target creature and gain 20 life, you target a creature with indestructible that can't be destroyed, you still get the other half of the card's effect because it's still a legal target. So, getting to run stuff like that, like mana drain, you can still just mana drain a spell, get the mana from it, even though the spell doesn't get countered.
Not like you want to run a ton of those in the deck.
No. But
you probably want to play more like how the deck plays.
But you know what's also really cool is like, you go High Tide, I'm going to flashback High Tide,
Turnabout.
Turnabout.
Flashback, turnabout.
That way, while it's on the stack, I'm going to cast Narset's Reversal to put High Tide and Turnabout back into my hand, and then get a copy of Turnabout, which Narset's Reversal is now in my graveyard. You see how things... Yeah, that works that way. Because you... Yeah.
¿Por qué, Maria? ¿Por qué? But yeah, no, that's dumb. This deck's stupid. And we have a person at the shop that has like a $5,000 version of it.
Yeah.
He wins consistently on like turn 5 and 6 and 4 even sometimes. Like he had a game where he won on turn 4 against me because do you remember, did I tell you the story about him mana draining by Rampant Growth?
Yeah.
And then he goes Soul Ring, Rhystic Study, Sapphire Medallion, plays his commander the next turn and then wins the turn after. Also, Intuition in this deck should be banned. Like, Intuition should get banned because of this commander. It's fucking degenerate. Mm-hmm. Derek, what do you do? What do you do? You give them something, they get everything.
Yeah, exactly.
It literally doesn't matter. This is Kess on crack. People are playing this in Standard right now.
Yeah.
And they're just playing Tribal Kill Spell Dimir.
It's like, you know what? I'm going to play him and I'm going to get them all back again.
Also, there's that board wipe that only hits converted mana cost 4 or less.
Tom, you know it's also really fun in if you're playing this deck in the more budget side, just saying for fun, River Kelpie.
Oh yeah, that's a thing.
Or the Secrets of the Dead, which is the same thing. Another really cool interaction with like certain counters. So say like you have either like you're doing High Tide shenanigans, or you have the Caged Sun, so all your mana taps for blue, or you flip the Primal Amulet, so you tap that to doubles the effects of a spell or whatever. Then you're like, you cast a big spell. Then you're like, okay, I'm going to use that mana to cast Unwind on my own spell. It doesn't get countered, but I get to untap 3 lands. And now I'm going to untap the land that the Primal Wellspring, so I could use it to get 2 more mana to copy another spell. Like, the deck just goes off in like 5,000 different ways. It's so easy.
Frantic Search?
Yeah, Frantic Search, stuff like that, like pour over the pages.
Also, Tutor, I'm telling you, Tutors like are too strong in this deck. I'm telling you, Intuition is like cracked in this deck. It's way too strong. It's like, okay, like I just get all my best pieces and the game's over.
Or like imagine your spot, like, okay, well I played High Tide like 3 times, 4 times. I played like 8 spells. I'm gonna brain freeze myself with Storm and mill half my deck. Memory.
What's the better one? Instead of brain freezing. Oh, Brain Freeze is busted for this deck.
Yeah, where you storm, and then you can play Mind's Desire, which is like the
Mind's
storm
Desire.
card. Yeah.
I was thinking that one.
God, solve the equation. It's just there's so many. There's just so much time. There's just.
Oh yeah,
so much.
wait, Derek, you want to know what he plays in there? That card that we used to play in Standard, the 3-mana one that you look at the top 6 and you get like an instant or sorcery and the rest go to grave.
Yeah, there's like it's pieces of the puzzle.
Yeah, he plays that. Yeah.
And there's Pour Over the Pages, which is the same. One of the things that draw a bunch, discard, and untap.
Mm-hmm.
Which when you're high tide, or you're going high tide shenanigans, I like Jataxian Probe. I like paying 4 life to draw 2 cards.
Yeah, honestly. And then you get like triggers of everything because you're gonna still play Archmage Emeritus. Because you know raisins.
Yep.
Oh my god.
So we have stuff like Summary Dismissal, exile all spells abilities on the stack. Misdirection, you get change of target. Lassotep Plating, where you and permanents you control gain hexproof at the end of the turn. So even your opponents will try to do something in response, you go Lassotep Plating, and we're gonna go. Stuff like Twin Cast, Redirect.
There's a new one.
Oh yeah, Divide by 0. Yep. That was really cool. Anyway, so yeah, he's good. He's real good.
Also, Zach found that really weird card that's like it kind of suspends it, but it doesn't.
Oh yeah.
It like has a named counter, like it exiles the spell on the stack. Like kind of like delay, but you know it's not.
I know exactly what you're talking about. Oh, also another funny card, Discontinuity. Discontinuity.
Oh, discontinuity.
Yeah, yeah. As long as
one that ends the turn. Yeah.
Mind Break Trap is another one.
Oh, also the wheel that when you cast it from your grave, it's just a time twister.
Oh yeah, like, it's called Urtai's Meddling. When target spell is successfully cast, put X delay counters on it. X cannot be.
Yeah, zero. It's not that it counters it. It's when it's because it's a really old wording. Yeah. Wait, hold on. What is it called? I want to check to see if there's like a
Urtai's Meddling. It's ERTAI. I think Urtai is that Esper dude that you sacrifice a creature to counter something.
Target spell.
Exit with X delay counter. It's delay with X, basically. Also,
you know, this spell's actually kind of good. This is not bad.
You play it with the Teferi that players can't cast spells except at sorcery speed, and then they just.
Sheesh. Yeah, that's kind of dumb.
Also, here's another fun card in this deck that if you're like going on the more budget side is Aether Snatch. Gain control of target spell. If that spell becomes a permanent, it enters the battlefield under your control.
There's another one of those that's free. Commandeer. But is that worth anything?
No, Commandeer is like $21, but it's gain control of non-creature spell. Aether Snatch is any spell, but Commandeer could be free. Remove 2 blue cards from your hand.
Yeah, which is a lot, but I mean, gaining control of a spell is fucking busting.
Yeah, which is also really cool when you have things like if someone's trying to Cyclonic Rift you, and the whole board, you're like, you know what? No, I own this Cyclonic Rift now. Or
Narset Reversal.
Yeah, or someone's like, I'm gonna cast an Ulamog, and like, are you though?
It's funny that Narset Reversal is just as busted for this deck as it is for, you know.
Anyway,
just
next one.
All right. Okay, so you just made this one.
I just made this. I actually won with it. Because I got to a point where like I'm just sacking. I was sacking a sack dude and a draw thing, and I would just get them all back, replay them. The ETB everybody would have to sack. I would sack him. And I think I had something else. Oh, and I had like a black market, and I was eventually going to start looping gray merchants every turn.
I think this is really good.
It's super resilient. It's really like, and the thing is, I was mana screwed too. But like, if I wasn't, like, I felt like I wasn't going to be in really good control of that game because like, I had 2 protection spells for her. I had the Malakir Rebirth, and I forgot what the other one was I had. But like, if she got blown up, I'm like, she's coming back.
Well, it's green. It's black-white, so I mean, best colors at it.
The deck is so far. The deck seems really. I want to play with it again and get a better hand because my land situation.
Also, the bottom effect.
Yeah.
Exiling something,
which actually is a big. So like that part gets a little weird with certain card effects that like whenever a creature dies, like black market because it doesn't see your opponent's dying. But like that part was really annoying for like people because it's like we had people like that like I ran a funny card in it that destroys all cards except commanders.
Mhm.
And then like you do that and then you play like Fleshbag Marauder.
So it does come back to hand.
I would put
But
it in the
it's
B for that
still,
side. I
yeah,
think
yeah.
it's like it's one of those. It's fun. There's cards that do it better. It's basically you're just playing Aetherios's one effect that you don't want your opponents to have a choice, and that's kind of how you play it. It makes it also,
I think it's pretty. I think it's really good
which is
because
also
there's a lot of ETB and ways to sack and things that sack themselves in the color. It's kind of what the color does.
you know what's also kind of cool with her is it makes attacking really free. Because it's like, do you want to
Mhm.
block it? Sure, it dies. I get the ETB effect again. You don't block, you're just gonna slowly whittle you down.
Mhm. No, totally.
So now we
Okay.
have Ludevic. Whenever a Ludevic Necrogenus enters the battlefield or attacks, mill a card, then 4 mana X, exile X creature cards from your graveyard, transform Ludevic, X can't be 0, activate only as a sorcery, and then as this creature transforms into Olag Ludevic's Hubris, it becomes a copy of a creature card exiled with it, except it has a name, Olag's Ludevic's Hubris. It's a 4/4, and it's a legendary blue-black zombie in addition to its other colors and types. Put a number of +1 counters on it equal to the number of creature cards exiled this way. So it's okay. I feel
It seems like a lot of work.
it's one of those things. It's like the Jiren, where it's like a lot of work to get it to be good, and if it gets like kind of dealt with in any kind of way, you almost have to restart, and it's really easy to stop it from being good.
There's probably some combos there. The fact that it's just a commander that says it mills a card,
I guess
when it enters.
when it enters or attacks, he's not.
But it is a human wizard is the problem there. But imagine it said it milled when it tapped.
The thing is, you
Oh
also
man,
have to pay X for each creature you exile too, so you have to put a lot of mana
Derek,
into him to make
could
him
you
big.
imagine if this was a human wizard that said it milled when it tapped?
Yeah. Oh my god. Nope.
A zombie, here we come, baby. But no, this is too much work.
I put him with Jiren. He's like, yeah, he's like in that D spot. So this is the commander deck.
Oh, this one's fucking awesome.
She,
I love Lind. She's not a commander deck. She's
no, right,
actually,
right.
I was wrong about that. She was only available in set boosters.
Yeah, she was a special card. Yeah, she's cool. She's a cool curse card. She does avoid some of the best ones, but I think it's actually kind of fair because like having her available to every curse, I think would make her too good.
I agree.
And I think they're limiting off like the taxi ones because while white has some of the good ones, there's the really annoying ones that people kind of don't really like. So I like that they kept her into these kind of colors, which I think is fair for her.
You have the most important one, which is the tutor one in black.
Yeah.
So, you know.
So I think
she seemed fun.
I think I would put her in like B. She's kind of like
it's good when it gets there, but it's a little bit work.
Yeah.
Like it's just a little bit slow.
Where it becomes more like it's for fun deck, where like I have to try and get this to work, but like it's fun to get it to work, and it's not overpowered. People aren't gonna think it's crazy, but it's also not weak if it actually happens. Like you get her going off, it's a problem. Human starts getting going off, it's a problem. If you have a bunch of damage and you're getting free cards, it's a problem. You're reanimating creatures back into your hand.
And I do think that all of these is still weaker than just tapping, putting a counter on everything, and then like having a doubling season and all the other things that double in, like, you know.
I agree.
Yeah. Okay. So, Old Stickfinger. Someone actually built this at the store.
I like him, honestly. I like the effects. I remember I built a modern deck like this with the power toughness equal to.
See, he's a star.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. I think he kind of would fall in that same category in like the B side where he can be really fun to play against.
Do you want to read it out?
Yeah. So whenever you cast a spell, so he's black, green, and X. When you cast a spell, reveal cards from the top of your library until you reveal X creature cards. Put all creature cards revealed this way into your graveyard, and then put the rest of the bottom of your library in a random order. That was worded really well. Not all cards revealed, because if you run like one creature in your deck, you could mill your entire deck. Old Stickfinger's power and toughness are equal to the number of creature cards in your graveyard.
But Derek, why would you want to mill your deck? Is there some way to win or something?
No. I don't know what you're talking about.
Not the colors for it, definitely.
No, but like, So he's basically there's the Gerard, I think it was the Golgari Lich Lord. I think it's where it's the same effect that could fling. He's just another one, but he also helps self mill a little bit, which is kind of cool. I kind of like him. He's just a really cool kind of like graveyardy deck, and I
totally agree.
I'm pretty sure there's probably some shenanigans with like having exactly the creatures you want in the deck.
Also, just as a guaranteed deck that sets up reanimate, like if you just play bombs, like the guy was just playing bombs, like he had a Villas out, like fairly early. Like I think it's actually pretty good. Because I think if you build it properly, you just can't not get good stuff. I think he's a B. Like when it gets going, and plus Golgari decks with the graveyard is like exactly where you want to be. So
now here's the question. You play Old Stick Fingers. The deck only has three creatures in the deck.
Mikaeus,
Triskelion, and
a sack outlet. Yeah. Oh no, you didn't even need a sack outlet. Mikaeus Triskellion's good enough.
Yeah, Triskelion, you only run 2 creatures, so you spend 4 mana, dump both of them, and your rest of your deck is just reanimation cards.
And it's just Melshir Wanderer, Kiki Jiki, and all lands, like...
Yeah, put him... Okay, S tier, he's good.
But at least you get to play instants in a... This is so much better than that, because, like, at least you still get to play the rest of the deck. You just only get to play, like, 3 creatures. Like, at worst, like, I don't know.
No, but I actually really like this idea, because I actually had tried building a Gerard-style deck with, like, Splinter Fright and all those cards. I think that's really cool. I like them for graveyard strategies.
I agree. So let's read this homeboy.
I have thoughts about this dude. So he is the where is he? I have the list pulled up over here as well, so I can a little higher def for me. So it's Carless, Stalwart Slayer. So 3 mana, 2/3 with flying and haste. If a spell would deal damage to Human Knight. If a spell would deal damage to you or another permanent you control, prevent that damage. If a spell would deal damage to an opponent or a permanent an opponent controls, he deals that much damage +1. He is Tribal Burn wipes the deck.
Yep.
And I don't think that's actually a terrible strategy if you were just running a bunch of like decent white-red haste creature boys and you just keep wiping the board every turn. Like remember like what's his face, Iroas? How annoying those decks could be when you prevent damage to him. Now it's not combat damage, but like now unfortunately like those decks probably run really like low in power really quickly. So you're still stuck playing probably the worst 2 colors to get more value out of what you're trying to do.
And he doesn't protect himself.
No. But what he definitely could be is a Sunforger deck, where you get Sunforger out, equipped, unattached, get an instance or sorcery with 4 or less, and just run Tribal Burn wipes, and that would be like your value engine. But like, so I think an interesting effect. He only is really catered to like kind of one thing, because like his top effect wouldn't even matter for any other type of effect. Like it can't be creature ETB damage because that's no longer a spell, so it literally has to be built around global burn damage, like burn wipes.
Like Fire Song and Sunspeaker.
Yeah.
That's the other commander that says that they get lifelink.
Which we have another creature that does it now, Radiant Skull Wielder.
There was also always Soulfire Grandmaster, but the problem is he's Jeskai.
Yeah.
And a lot of these decks are Boros. Because of his activated ability. But yeah, I still think he's not amazing. I think he like falls around here.
Yeah, the thing is like that strategy is cute until you run out of burn spells, burn wipes, or you run into a creature that it doesn't kill.
Yeah.
And then like a 2/3 flying.
And you're gonna run out of gas really fast also, because it is, unless you're like, I don't know, fucking playing swords with him or something, like which is probably pretty smart, because if you can give him pro red, like, that's a pretty good place to be. But like, I could imagine like a funny Voltron deck where like the rest of the deck is just like creature board. I don't know.
So
I don't know.
You build
out my head.
artifact draw spells. and nothing in the deck is anything except like just global burn wipes. Like,
But they just printed that new guy that's so much better though. Like, like that guy that says that you
Shut
just
your
draw
mouth.
whenever he attacks, like for each equipment he has, you
Yeah.
just draw that much. That guy's so fucking good. Oh my god, that guy's so good.
Yeah, and the thing is how he's worded too. Like, you can't even run Boros Reckoner in the deck and it'd be good because Boros Reckoner, the damage would be prevented. Anyway, moving on.
Yeah, you don't get to do the stuff eat all stuff, as where the Fire Song and Sunspeaker deck does, where you get to play Brash Taunter, Boris Reckoner, and Stuff Eat All. The Viper Fang. This is a cool fucking card.
Yeah.
This I think should go in Tribal Legendaries also.
Yeah. So other tap creatures you control have Death Touch. Other untapped creatures you control have Hexproof, and 1 mana untap another target creature or land you control. Which I like how it says another, so you can't like double the effect and have it target itself and like untap and Nykthos and infinitely tap the both. Which they word that really well. You know what's kind of funny? So other tap creatures you control have Death Touch. So that means that attacking creatures, if they tap, get Death Touch.
Wait, Derek, hold on. Wait, I gotta read this really quick.
Yep. There's a Eldrazi that does it too, Endbringer. It says tap, deal 1 damage to target creature or player. So you get tap him to deal 1 damage, and because he is now tapped by state-based actions while the effect's on the stack, he now gains Death Touch. So it deals 1 damage and will kill it.
Yeah. That's thing, huh?
Mm-hmm.
Not like we needed another fucking Thornbite staff deck. Like we only have 1 million of those, right?
Now there's also another really funny situation with the deck where like blocking with Mana Dorks becomes scary to attack into because they go, I'm gonna declare a block, and I'm gonna tap it for a mana. Now it's got Death Touch.
Also, it gives an untap outlet. I think this might be better in like, because there's people who make what's called like a Tim's deck. Do you know what that is?
Yeah, just big flashy spells.
And people, no. Oh, am I thinking of the wrong thing?
Yeah, it's isn't it like Timmy's or like the big flashy blades?
No. I'm thinking of the wrong thing. I was thinking of the pingers. What is the pingers called?
Oh, I don't know.
There's like a name for them, but yeah, it's I thought it was called. No, I know that there's Timmy's, but I think that like Tim's were also like pingers because one of the original pinger was called like Tim or something. But yeah, so most of the people play Teamer because they play like Devic, the one that deals damage and lets you draw. Plus like something else that I'm forgetting, like Thassa or like Thrasios or something. And this is busted in there because they all tap themselves to deal damage. And this also untaps something. This is like cracked in that deck. Because people do play that. Because Josh Lee Kwai on the Command Zone made it popular. Because, that was like a him deck. And then, everybody's got to follow in the footsteps. But the funny thing is, it's like the Tim's deck's actually pretty good. Like, believe it or not. Because there's a lot of things that untap creatures. And believe it or not, there's a lot of easy ways to combo with them. But yeah. But as a commander, though, this is not very good. I think it's fun and it's green, but I don't think it's very good as a commander.
I put it in C. It has some utility, but like it actually does something where the bottom ones I feel like are just too situational. So Sigarda, our Coven mommy. So Flying Trample, humans get +1/+1, and most Coven effects are human based. And whenever she attacks, if you control 3 or more creatures with different powers, look at the top 5 cards of your library, you may reveal a human creature card from among them. Put into your hand the rest of your bottom of your library in a random order. So basically, you're drawing a card out of your top 5 that has to be a human, but most of the Coven creatures are humans, and if you pair it with like the other human creatures, it's not bad.
Human tribal. I think it just lands straight up like near this commander.
Yeah. I think it's a little bit more
I think
situational.
it's a little bit more.
Thing is, here's my thing with Coven. It's easy to trigger Coven, but she does have to attack. She's not the biggest, and she can only grab humans, so you can't like build a Coven deck and have like not.
But she has flying and trample.
Yeah.
The flying's gonna mean you're always gonna have someone to hit.
The other thing with how the rest of the Coven works is it doesn't deal with humans, but she's specific. I wish it just says look for a creature card from among them and put it into your hand. But I guess she works with humans and how the set is thing, like, because she's not a commander card. She was built for like standard. So I
also humans is not a bad tribe. I wouldn't consider humans like a top 10 tribe as far as commander standards go, but like still good, not terrible. Not terrible. Definitely not top 10 though.
No.
All right. So we got the only Derek, the only Simic card that got printed.
Yep.
The only Simic legendary.
Well, we'll see what next set happens, because this has been so it's he's Slugurk, Slogurk, the Overslime, the Yogurt, his name, Yogurt the Overslime. This guy's actually kind of interesting. So it's trample. Whenever a land is put into your graveyard from anywhere, put a +1 counter on it. So like every fetch land in existence. Remove 3 +1 counters.
Not just a fetch land.
Yeah,
it's also milling them.
Yep.
So like from the loam.
Remove 3 +1 counters from him. Return to his owner's hand. When he leaves the battlefield, return up to 3 target lands from your graveyard to your hand. So I think he's like, you could do some kind of silly landfall-y, doing land looping shenanigans with him, which is kind of nifty. But like he doesn't really do.
He doesn't let you play them though. Yeah, like if he was like return 3 from your graveyard and then put 1 into play, you know, then you could do some shit. But like the fact that he gets bigger just from lands going into grave is cute. But it's like, is it really that good to just get 3 lands when like Crucible and Ramanap exists? Or Ancient Green Warden?
Return up to 3 land. Yeah, I wish I'd put them into play and not into your hand.
But I feel like into play is too strong for 3 of them. But yeah. Like, I if it said 1, you know, like if you got 3 back and you could put 1 into play, I think it would be fair. I mean, that 1 might be Gaia's Cradle, but you know,
yeah.
Fair. Totally fair. You know. But I think that factor, like the not having an extra land drop and being like a lands commander, sure, you're still going to be a lands deck, so you're fucking stupid. You're a Simic deck, it's fine. Like, it's literally a C before we read the card. Like, so, just because it's related to lands.
Now, it also does say trample. So you could do your normal land shenanigans, extra land sacking, and basically you just like, okay, I'm just gonna picture in a deck like this. Yeah, you play
shift.
You play him as imagine he says landfall, put a +1 counter on him with trample. Then he has some other effects, and you just play a basic landfall shenanigans deck with like playing them from your graveyard every turn. We know how we do that and how many triggers we can get.
Also, he like sort of dodges removal.
Yeah, so he becomes kind of huge. You go on.
Does Ozolith say leaves play or dies? Hold on, let me.
It says whenever a creature you control leaves the battlefield.
Oh, that's kind of good then.
So yeah, you can 100% dodge with Ozolith. And
I think just the fact that he can murder people probably puts him in like big. Because you are still a land deck. I think he's actually better than most of these, to be honest.
And he has trample, so that matters. And
you're still Simic lands, so you could have no commander and still be the best deck in the format. Like
you still get you're still getting to play like the good protection spells, the good draw spells, the good landfall triggers,
which is so hard to interact with. Got fucking Field of the Dead. You know, it's fine. And there probably is some looping shenanigans that we're not thinking about. I guess it's kind of cool just to have another thing that adds lands. Like, you don't really need it in the decks because there's already a lot that do it. But, like, it's fine. I think it's fine. So this guy, this is the one that you were also very interested about.
I actually built a standard deck around him, called a Treasure Storm, and then I saw literally that MTG Goldfish built a variant of the deck without him though. And it's basically the same thing where like you put one spell that's like Unleash Fury, which is going to only cost 1 red, double the power of target creature until the end of the turn. This is combo. He is
Sorry.
combo man combo that wants the combo. He makes a spell reduction, and it's so easy to just play one spell. To like, okay, target creature gets +2/+0 in haste. Cool. Now your spells cost like nothing.
This guy's kind of cracked.
He's just blue-red, like, and hits a brawl from the command. It's brawl, except you get to play red from the command zone.
He also just gets a counter for Nightbound, Daybound,
which is really easy to do.
Instant sorcery spells you cast have X where X is power. Yeah, no, this card's... I mean, it's not Mizzix, but it's definitely powerful.
Yeah.
I feel like you could do some shit with this card.
Mm-hmm.
And you have the right colors for it, too. Equipment colors. That's the colors you want to be. Other than white, but like, you know, blue.
There's this fun card that came out in Commander Legends called Draw a Card. Until the end of the turn, target creature gains Trample and gets +1/+0 for each card you've drawn this turn.
Oh, yeah. I know that card.
Fist of Flame. So if you're like, you hit him with that. Like, say...
That's in Zada.
Yeah, so, like, imagine, like, okay, you drew your card for turn, you cast this, you hit him, so now he's a, 3 power, so for 1 red, you've drawn a second card, and now all your instant sorceries cost 3 less. It's like, oh no, because of that, now I'm going to play Lunar Frenzy. Target creature gets +X/+0 on first strike at the end of the turn, and because he paid for the 3, I paid 1 red for that. Now he's at 6 power. Now I'm going to spend 1 blue to play Stroke of Genius and like draw 3 cards. Yep, there you go. That just makes him constantly bigger and makes... Now I'm going to play Brass's Bounty for 1 red and get a number of treasures for each land I control. I'm going to solve the equation for 1 mana. I'm going to play Mana Geyser for 2 red. Now I'm going to Frantic Search for 1 blue.
What a guy.
Yeah.
And again, like you said, at worst, it's just a brawl.
And we already know how good Brawl could be.
I mean, it doesn't have the counter effect thing,
No.
but that does mean you get to play the Celestius, the Celestis,
Yeah, the Celestius.
and sometimes draw.
Yeah.
Because it is just a mana rock.
And if you do play enough of those like mono red cantrips to make him huge, because there's a lot of actually those cantrips that draw a card. And if you run like Bergie or any of the things that like the Stormkiln artist, like you just go and then you're like, cool. Now that he's huge, I'm gonna put 20 power of free spell, of free mana into Crackle with Power, which deals 5 times X divided up to X targets. So if it was 21, it's 7. So 7 times 5 is 35. So you do 35 damage around the table.
Also, this is not counting the fact that night and daytime is probably going to switch a decent amount as long as you're paying attention. So, like, because remember, you're playing with 3 other people. And like I said, if you play the Celestis?
Yeah.
Celestis.
Which can also switch the day and night anytime you want. He's just... Yeah,
no, that's not what it...
yeah, the Celestis is... Yeah. It just becomes day when it enters. You can add 1 mana of any color or 3 mana, switch it.
And then the bottom effect, whenever day becomes night or night becomes day, you gain a life, you may draw a card. If you do, discard a card.
I like how it's like you don't even have to draw a card if you don't want to.
Yeah.
And like you can just play all like the rituals too, because they all cost so cheap, and just to get.
Yeah, and again, it's just a 3 mana rock at worst. I don't know why people like wouldn't just play this card. It's a 3 mana rock that sometimes draws, and you don't have to sack.
Remember, it's looting, not drawing.
Yeah, but gaining a life, looting, and like being in control of day or night is kind of cute. I mean,
yeah, that is true.
Because this would like a Seaborn Muse, but I'm just I know it's looting, but like I still think it's a pretty cool card.
but I guess it's probably cool in any deck that cares about your graveyard, like Liar or Lear or.
Is it one in?
No, it's two ends.